Maybe. Okay, here we go. Live on YouTube and Zoom. So good to go. All right. Good evening, everybody. We're going to check in tonight. We've got a couple good things to go through. Seem to be having some unanimous kind of problems and decisions that everybody's having to make and work through. So we're going to try and see. You good?
Nope.
Hang on.
It's all good. I'll do what I can.
Everybody okay? Hey, Cav. Good to see you on. Hang on. We're having some technical difficulty. Our power. And if we lose power, guys, we will sign right back on. Our power just blinked about 5 minutes ago. So there's that. So we're just kicking in. But anyways, we some people were having some issues this week. So we were going to talk about a little bit of how we have to heal the brain to move forward in this progression and to make the changes and make this last a lifetime. We have to get on and heal the brain and heal the addictions. Those addictions don't matter if it is from sex, drugs, rock and roll, or carbs and sugar. It's all the same process in the brain of healing addiction. So it's one of those things you notice people, even over in the coaching group right now, the people are hitting that 4 to 6 week mark. It gets annoying. It's not fun anymore. You're missing your old protocols. You're missing the old things that used to give you that dopamine response. And hey, Anna, glad you made it, hun. You're missing all those old habits and those old things that you used to do. So what's happening now is they start rearing their ugly heads. You start having the cravings. You start having the, oh, I just missed this, or I just want that. If you're still having those cravings, that means you still have that little bit of addiction in the brain that we got to deal with. Dealing with that addiction in the brain is how you're going to make this last a lifetime. So Helen, when we're talking to you and some of the other veterans on here, where we have to go slow enough to get those fat-based hormones happy first. First and foremost, those fat-based hormones have to be happy. We've got to get everything working to get that progression and to get your brain able to break the addiction. Because if you skip through the steps and you don't get the fat-based hormones and you don't get the sleep correct and you don't get all those things coming down the pike, then you're going to fast forward and jump over some of the steps that you really need to make sure your chemistry is right. And you're going to crash and burn. And it's one of those when we end up finding out, Helen was just kind of touching on it, where I feel like I need to step back a little bit because you try to push too fast before your chemistry is stable and ready to do that. I always use Lance as the example because he can kind of half-ass it. He can jump in, do a fast, get his stuff back on track, and he'll be ready to go in a few days. My body cannot do that. I can't do it that way. I have got to build the chemistry. I've got to make sure my numbers are correct. I got to make sure everything is in line. Then I can push it forward. And it's not a cop-out. It's if I don't want to be miserable in this and be a bear with a sore butt, then I've got to do the steps that I got to do to get there. He can just push through it. Kevin can just push through it. The guys seem to have a much easier time than us girls do, but we are dealing with those hormones. And when those hormones are not stable, that is where the trouble comes in. That is where we can't break that addiction. We can't get over those cravings. We keep wanting that dopamine response. And that dopamine response doesn't matter. Your brain does not care if that dopamine is coming from alcohol, if it's coming from a drug, or if it's coming from a candy bar. It is still a dopamine response in the brain. So we've got to learn to break that dopamine response. And you don't want to trade one addiction for another, which is what most of us do. Most of us will get off of one item, or cream, or the sugar, or the sweets, or whatever, and we just re-stimulate it with another. And that is why most of us that are down the pike and veterans in this, why most of us are pretty much carnivore, just because it's easier to eliminate everything else, break the addictions, and then I can go back and choose to have something. Once that addiction is broken in my brain, now I can go have a bite of a piece of birthday cake or whatever, a bite of ice cream or whatever. You can make those choices once that addiction's broke. But if you keep stimulating that desire and that dopamine response while you're having those cravings and everything still coming on, I always go back to it's the equivalent of taking an alcoholic to a bar and giving them a beer. It is the same stimulus. You would never take an alcoholic and give them a beer and re-stimulate that addiction. So it's the same thing we're going through with the sugar and the carbs. So every time you re-stimulate, every time you reintroduce it, you are re-stimulating that dopamine response. So that's kind of one of the things I want to touch on. We were doing I had the blessing. I will start off checking in. I had the blessing of being able to have dinner with my daughter and my granddaughter tonight. So I broke my fast and I chose to. It was one of those, I'm not fasting through a moment of being able to see my kids. So it was one of those minutes a moment that I got to share, but I'm going to try to fat load again tonight, get maybe a heavy cream or coffee or something with butter in it here before the night is over, start again, and I'll regroup and we'll just get going again tomorrow. But that's my story.
I did not. I am still fasting. So I think I'm 24 in, over 24. And I can't remember that they come online here. So I'm 27 hours in, and I'm definitely grumpy today. I didn't start off as well as I would have liked to. I mean, even though if some of you did see our picture on the page, we did have some really good ribs. But I do think maybe that little bit of sauce did kind of
do us in a little bit,
push me in the wrong direction anyway. That and the coleslaw, but it was decent. I mean, they were really good ribs, but not quite the way I want to set myself up. But we're gonna try to push through. I got my coffee with my salt. I had salt in my water all day today, so hopefully not have as bad headaches. I know that I think Helen made a comment that she's getting a slight headache. That may be some sign of you getting a little bit dehydrated. So make sure you get your elements in you, which I use Redmond's real salt, and I use a lot of it. So it's a staple for me. That way I don't get a headache as much. I still feel a little one right now just because I'm grumpy and I had a bad day and everything else today. So it was definitely a Monday for me, but I haven't broke, and I'm going to stick it out. So need to get my numbers cranking.
Yep. So it's kind of one of those things, learning to work together and push each other through. We did have those ribs that came from a restaurant yesterday, and we don't eat out that often. So it's one of those things, when you're getting food elsewhere, you're just never quite sure what's in it. You're never quite sure what it is. Now we always get the sauces on the side or anything like that, but it's still, it's still a gamble and a crapshoot. So it's not the perfect way to set us up for a fast. Now our chemistry will usually push us into those 48 to 72. So we get that dopamine, or we get that autophagy, and we're hitting all those markers that we want to hit, but not setting yourself up properly before it will make this not an easy fast. So we like our fast when our chemistry will literally carry us through and we feel like rock stars. Those are the kind of fasts we like. That's not where we're at right now. So we're going to try to set ourselves up for success. And when I tell you that, it makes all the difference in the world to have yourself prepped and ready and know where your hormones are. So that is what's going to carry you through, that those fat-based hormones are going to carry you through as you progress through this journey. And having all those established is what's going to help keep you more stable and ready to proceed and push forward. So to the next level. So that's our story. Come on in, Helen. You want to give us a quick check-in, give us a win, give us a fail, and give us a question.
Well, my win was the choir at church had a luncheon, and it was a huge table of charcuterie board stuff.
Nice.
I went through and got exactly what I was supposed to be eating and left everything away. And they had probably my most favorite dessert there somebody had made, and about 12 others, and I didn't touch a bite of them.
Good job.
Okay, so that right there, talking about the brain health, to be able to walk past something that used to be a favorite dessert, that is huge. That is showing your brain is not still grabbing and craving for that dessert. So you're making strides in your brain work. So that's the key to making this last a lifetime. So good job, Helen. So good job on your win. What was a struggle?
Well, and the last couple of nights I've been waking up. Last night I got up about 1 o'clock, and I was hungry, but I put it was in the dark because Alan's sleeping, but I found the salt shaker and put some salt in my palm and
Good job.
licked it off and tried to go back to bed.
Well, Helen, I will put that down as another win. That's another win because you succeeded through it and you turned to the right tools. You did what you needed to do. I'm going to tell you, grace for yourself right now till that CPAP machine gets settled and regulated, and you find all the nooks and crannies of it and the ways that you need to hook it up and the flow vent that you need, all of that, when you get all that set up, your sleep will improve. And this is going to be really important. So give yourself some grace till you figure all those settings and everything on that machine, on that new machine, till your sleep is good. What she's talking about on this is her sleep hasn't been so good. And anybody that knows, sleep is one of the most important things for your health. It's at the top of the list of things you have to handle. If she's not getting that deep sleep, she is not raising that BDNF in the brain. If that BDNF is not going up in the brain, she is not making the ketones and healing and getting all those things done that she needs to do. So Helen, grace for your process that you're going through right now with your new machine, but good job sticking with it. Good job for making a choice through a hunger pain. Reaching for that salt in the dark that's a total win. So good job. Nice.
I had a question I have just reading about Eric's bone broth. And you said you put your bone broth in 1 or 2 tablespoon increments.
No, I make my bone broth. I make 2 20-quart canners at one time. So I've got 40 quarts up there brewing as we speak. You can go down to just a couple tablespoons if you want to. You could get like a 1/4 cup a day in you. The bone broth is a tool that you can use multitudes of ways. There's no right or wrong. It's just get the bone broth in you, especially if you're getting.
Sorry, I was going to let you finish.
As long as you're getting good homemade bone broth, get it in you. It will technically break a fast. So if you're trying to do a technical clean fast, you'll not want to do that. But if you do go to break your fast and you're not going to make it for whatever reason, just not feeling it, just not able to do it, bone broth is always your first defense. And even if you make it through your fast, your bone broth is the perfect way to break a fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
So get that in you.
Your reply to him. So maybe you were talking about butter bites.
Yes. Butter bites is
okay. But his pictures were of bone broth. And I've been putting my bone broth in a 4 ounce to 8 ounce to quart containers. And then I get it out and use it.
Yeah, the bone broth do 4 8 ounces, whatever you want in the bone broth. For the butter bites, I do them in 1 and 2 tablespoon molds. And then I can just pop them in my coffee, or I put them in the fridge and pull them out and bite on. I just chew on them. And it's one of those when I need fat in me and I just don't feel good. Right now, I'm struggling keeping my fats up. And, I got lazy, quit tracking on chronometer. Hey, Linda, glad you made it, hon. Tracking on chronometer and all that kind of stuff. So it's one of those, even veterans, when I know my chemistry and I know what I need to do, it's still, when I tracked it the other day, I wasn't even close to my fat grams I needed. Oh,
that's the other thing too. We had dinner over the weekend and I actually got some swordfish. We were at a seafood place. I got a piece of swordfish and I put it in chronometer and it was not what I expected.
Yeah.
It did not have the fat content that I thought it would. It did not, it was a lot leaner of something. And so just being able to use chronometer like that on something that I didn't know, I would have really had to throw the butter to it and some other things to get my fat up. But just to be able to put that in there, a lot of us veterans are so stuck in our ways of what works. When we step out a little bit,
we got to go back.
We need to use it.
Yeah. Use that tool because it is one of the best tools to help you between Keto Mojo and knowing your blood markers and knowing what chronometer does. You can figure out just about everything in your chemistry. So that is what is going to be so magic of being able, your glucose, ketones, your DBR. That DBR is going to tell you what is affecting you. Like I said last week, when we talk about the cream fits perfectly into my numbers. Cream is a no-brainer. It's 0 carbs, 1 carb, whatever. I always have the carbs to spare because we eat carnivore, but the cream does not fit in my body because my glucoses will continually stay up as long as I'm ingesting cream. Doesn't matter how many carbs a day I have. I could be at 0 carbs the rest of the day, put cream in my coffee and my glucose in the morning will be high. So that's the beauty of being able to read the DBR and know what your DBR is and know where your personal chemistry is. So that is how you're going to figure those things out to work through those humps and pinpoint this chemistry shift for you.
And that's why we say track.
Yep. Track it. Use chronometer. It's one of the best tools you can have. Chronometer and Mojo.
And Mojo together.
You can figure out anything with chronometer and Mojo. So good job, Helen. Did I answer your question okay, hon?
Yes.
Okay. The butter bites is chew.
Yeah,
favorite
those are
foods.
really, really good. I have to stay away from those.
Yeah. Lance doesn't do anything in moderation, so he is all the way.
I'm in.
Well, I made butter bites when we got the video. Watching the video gave me the courage to do it.
Good
Yeah,
job.
no.
Nice work.
So, but yeah,
All right.
using chronometer every day and, keto mode, Joe.
Yep. And that's how you're going to learn to read your chemistry, because your chemistry is going to be different than my chemistry. So that's how we're going to do this, to be able to push you forward, because I can sit here and say my chemistry is not ready, but his is, so it's one of those, you got to figure out where to push yourself and where not to, so you'll get there. So good job.
Thank you.
All right, Pam, you want to come and jump in?
Yes.
Excuse me.
Me? Okay. Actually, I had to duck out because my husband's on his way back from a trip and he was like giving me the blow by blow of everything that happened.
It's all good.
But I am actually having a hard time eating lately. And it started a couple of days ago because last time I was here, I was like waking up starving in the morning and eating right away and all that. And now I'm not. And then I've delayed my eating to a point, but I just have this concern that later on, because my blood sugar really does better if I do not eat. I think 2 o'clock's really pushing it. When I was doing OMAD, I was usually eating around noon, just once, like within an hour, and calling it good. But I started going off on other programs and doing different things and all that stuff. But the last few days, it's like, I haven't had that much of an appetite. It's like, I don't want the butter.
Do you know what that means? Do you know what that's saying to you?
What?
Okay. That's saying you're becoming fat adapted. And you're not starving, and ghrelin is working, and leptin is working. And that is saying, hey, I got this. That is why the purpose last week of putting those fats in you and keeping everything going, that now you've woke up ghrelin and leptin and all those hormones. And now you're becoming fat adapted because your body is not continually hungry because it's going and finding your fat now. That's where that transition comes in. We push the fats at the first to unlock the fat out of that cell. Then we pull, when those fats drop down and you feel like you're not hungry anymore, it's like the magic little step over the curb moment of saying, okay, now your chemistry is starting to shift. So Pam, that's a win. Good job.
Then what should I do?
First of all, it's time to tighten that eating window. Just like you answered your own question. When you was at OMAD, you ate that one meal, you got everything in you, you got your fats in, you got your proteins in you, and then you zipped it and you're done.
And I'm not really hungry as much then either. And since I don't want to eat, I really think I shouldn't eat past noon, but if I push it a little longer, I really see it in my blood sugar the following day.
Yes. That's normal.
But now I'm like, oh my God, what if I don't eat then? It's like, what's going to happen if I
You're
have
going to be
wait?
just fine. So here's what I want you to plan through. I want you to go ahead and have your meal, your one meal a day at noon or 2 or whatever, wherever you feel you can comfortably eat. Do your one meal, get your fats in you, get those proteins in you. Then I want you to find something that you enjoy. I want you to plan to keep yourself busy for the evening. I want you to go plan a float, go for a walk, call a friend. All those brain work things that we talk about, the journaling, the Bible study, the call a friend, write a letter, write in cursive, anything that makes you feel good. Do something you enjoy to get that dopamine response through the evening when you're trying to work through, oh my gosh, the mental game of it's supper time and I should be eating. So work through that mental game, but push through it a couple times. And when you get in that rhythm, you're going to be fine. You're going to be ready to go to bed and wake up. And then you'll be ready to get that early meal in. And then you're going to get that rhythm going. And once you do that for a week or so, then we'll be ready to push you. You'll be ready for the fast, which is where the magic really happens. Yep. But if you're not feeling hungry, all those hormones are kicking in. You've done the work now. Now it's time to push forward and get the results. So.
But are you saying that I should still eat anyway?
Not in the evening. Nope.
Right. But I'm talking about
earlier in the day. Yes, you may not be starving, but eat until you're comfortable. Just go ahead and get it in you, because if you go much later, you're going to be messing with another later eating window. So bring that up, because that's going to give you a later insulin response. So bring it up to that earlier time and work through the evening. Push through. It's going to be a mental game. Pushing through the evening. It's all right here. Your chemistry is correct. And I want you to hear that. I want you to understand your chemistry is ready to carry you. Now it's right here. So now you have to do the mental work to work through the evening and get through. You're going to have the craving. You might have the addiction kick in. You may have that, oh my gosh, it's 5 o'clock. I need to eat. Oh, what's going to happen if I don't eat? And it gets 7 o'clock and I'm going to be hungry and I'm going to be grouchy and I'm going to want something. That is all the mental game that you need to work on. Okay. That is where the journaling comes in. That is where, if it's close enough to bedtime, go to bed. Just tap out and go to sleep. But your hormones are ready. Ghrelin and leptin are working. Everything is kicking in. Now it's right here. Now
are those two the fat hormones you were referring to?
Yep.
Before,
Yep.
Those are the fat hormones?
All of those, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, leptin, ghrelin, those are all fat-based hormones.
Oh.
So you got to get them all working in tandem with each other and against each other, and they play off of each other. So you've got to get all those working to move you forward. And that's exactly where you're at. So that's what I'm telling you. Your chemistry is working for you right now. Now it's right here.
And then I also heard you say recently about eating the fat first, which I have not been doing. But right now, do I have to hit all my macros right now, or?
You're right on that borderline of, yes, it's still a fat-based diet. So if you back off too soon, you're like, I backed off and I'm struggling to even make ketones right now. So you've got to keep that production going. If whatever you're doing and it's working, stick with it. You got to get that repetition going. You can't just hit it one day and move on and change it. Now you have to stay there, get the fat in you, eat the protein till you're comfortably full. That is going to be your new protocol. That is what's going to make this a lifetime, not just for a time being. You're going to get fats in you. You're going to fill up on the fats and your proteins, and you're going to eat till you're comfortable, but then you're going to stop.
And that should be, your fat should be your main go-to. If you start to get hungry, you should go for a fat first. Yeah. And then once you get that fat in you, your body will say, okay, now I'm satisfied. You don't necessarily need to have the protein with it. You know what I mean? You're going to start relying more on the fat to run your body.
Okay. Because I've been adding butter and sour cream, and now I look at it and just go I don't even want this.
And that's the cool part of becoming fat adapted, because then those fats can get brought back a little bit, Oh, we all good?
Yep.
Something just glitched. That's where you're going to start to play with that, but you can't go too fast. Now, just because you got there for a day, you can't start pulling those fats back and thinking everything's good to go. You got to stay steady.
Okay. So I need to continue
for now,
having as much of the fat that's on my macro thing, my chronometer.
If you can. This is where don't overthink it.
Okay.
Get the fats in you. Don't let them back down. But if you're feeling hungry, increase your fats and proteins a little bit.
Right.
Get the fat in you. You can't dodge out on the fat yet, because our fat cells are so comfortable at locking that fat in the cell. So we have got to keep it awake and sharing and open that cell up to keep it going. So don't overthink it, but get some fat in you so your body still knows it's coming in. But the goal is going to be to let it go find your fat and burn it. So that's the transition, but it's not an overnight transition.
Okay.
Hang in there. You got it. Your hormones are kicking in. You're doing it. That's what you've been working for. So don't blow it now. This is where you've done great. Stay strong, get going in it. But now your chemistry is okay. You saying you're not hungry is telling me your chemistry is working. So I know you've done the work. I know you're how many weeks in. I know you got this, but you got to do the mental work now, because now you're working with the mind game, and you got to heal the brain if you want this to last forever.
And I am hitting a huge wall of emotion.
Yep.
Of
Oh, we're all with you, Pam. It's okay. This is where it gets hard, because you are dealing with the emotions, and we're all here to support you. and pray with you and love you. We're going to help you over this hurdle. But this is where, because your hormones are kicking in and your brain is kicking in, and you have pulled something away in your brain that your brain really cherished. And that dopamine is what made you feel good. And we're going to replace that dopamine with something else that makes you feel good. So I want you to do some thinking, internal thinking. I want you to spend some time with yourself. What is something you thoroughly love? Whether that's journaling, crocheting, calling a friend, writing a note, anything like that that you need to do, find it and pick it up and do it and replace that emotion and that dopamine.
There was a point in my life that I'm aware of that food became the only thing I had that loved me back, kind of.
Absolutely.
And I other times when I've gotten sort of this close was I go, well, if I give up that, I'll have nothing.
Nope.
And that's where I want you to change your mindset. First of all, I want to say, anybody that knows me, I don't go far without a notebook with me. I am the notebook queen, because if I don't have something to doodle and write in when I need to do a brain dump, I can't go to sleep. I can't think straight, anything. You have to find what works for you. And having that dopamine response in your brain, you have to figure out it's not going to be all that you have. You have a whole world of being healthy in front of you, a whole lifetime in front of you. You have to find the things that you enjoy and go do them. You have to make them an effort. It's not the food that made you happy. Let's put the dopamine back in there with something that's going to be a healthy choice for you. So journal, cursive handwriting. If anybody hasn't taken the brains course yet, you have got to understand what the cursive handwriting and the journaling does. That will be coming soon. I promise. We are getting the back end of Dr. Boz's website and the back end of my website always getting happy. Finally, I will be able to do the brains course again and teach it. So, and I'll be able to give you a huge discount. So I'm really hoping we can move this forward on it and get it moving. But the brains course is going to teach you all those things that we have to do to heal the brain and put that dopamine response back in there. So think of something you love. Truly makes your heart and soul happy, whether it's music, a concert. I mean, we're concert people, we're music people. I love what music does for my head. I'm a Michael Stanley person, and most of you don't even know Michael Stanley, but he was a part of my whole soul growing up. I hear his music and it just soothes my soul. It's just one of those things. Find what you love, find what is going to spark that dopamine in your brain. Love yourself enough to make this a priority and work through it this time and not crash and burn in it. Work through what's getting ready to hit you. And why it's hitting you right now is because you're right on that verge of breaking the addiction. And are you going to which path are you going to go down? Are you going to go down the path and go back where you've always been? Or are you going to do something different? And this is where you're going to make it different, and you're going to grow, and you're going to make it better this time, and your brain is going to get better, and you're going to do the things that you need to do to love yourself. Figure out what that is. I don't care what it is. Go get an Epsom soak. Go for a walk, find a friend, go on a date with your husband, whatever it is that is going to bring joy to your brain, do it in place of this struggle that you're going to go through right now, and push through it, because you're worth it. And you got to love yourself, and we're all going to be cheering you on, and we're all going to be pushing you over the hump, and you're all accountable now to everybody on here. So you got it, PM. You can do this.
This morning, it's been really hot here, and I haven't been able to take my dogs out as much, and they've just been like restless and climbing the walls and whatnot. And this morning we went out back and I played a game with them where I would throw a treat and they'd have to run after it and go get it and find it and all this kind of stuff until they pooped out. And the thing is I felt the dopamine then. It was kind of like we all got it. And
perfect.
So they've been like sleeping all day.
Perfect. You found something that you enjoyed. And if that's being with your animals and playing with your dogs, perfect.
Absolutely.
That's giving you the exercise. It's giving you the dopamine response. It does not matter what it is, as long as it's not something that is detrimental to your health.
Right.
And go with it. So good job. And keep doing that. Do the search. Look deep. And this is when we ask everybody to figure out what your why is. This is why your why is so important. The why should make you cry. When you start digging in of why your why should make you cry, that's how deep you need to dig. So good job, Pam. You got there. You're there. So now you're going to
hear that at the beginning when you said I was going to cry when I did this. So
you should. I bet you there's not a veteran on here that hasn't had a why that makes them cry.
Yep.
If you're going to succeed in this, you've got to have a why strong enough that's going to make you cry.
Okay.
We've all been there. So good job and keep going. You got this.
All right.
Laura saying she cried. Yes. Laura's a veteran too.
Even Laura cries.
Yep. Even Laura cries.
Where's Laura?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yes. It's hard. But again, the beauty of it, you're at that verge. You're at that Y in the road. What direction are you going to go?
So I guess the bottom line was my question. Am I supposed to fast now or am I supposed to still eating? Okay, no. He's saying no.
What's that?
Yeah.
Me, Lance, yeah. I don't think she said to fast quite yet.
No, not you're at
Okay.
OMAD, not fasting yet. We want to establish and get OMAD steady and working and making sure those hormones stay working with OMAD, because some people will back off all those fats and eating in that big 4-hour eating window and your ketones are going to drop. So we got to
Okay.
make sure everything's working. We got to get everything
Okay.
working. So now it's just rinse and repeat, slow and steady, get your fats in you and stay going.
Don't jump ahead. Just stay on the
Okay.
step that you're on.
Slow and
and-
steady is going to win.
Consistency is the key.
You'll get there.
Okay. I just
hang in
got
there.
my keto mojo today. And then I already have a keto device and the test strips or the blood test strips showed up today as well. So now I'm ready to do all the tracking.
Good.
Okay. You let me know and we'll get you in my patient portal so I can see your numbers. It'll be cool.
Okay.
We'll get
Awesome.
All right.
Good job,
hang in there,
Pam.
Pam. Hang in there. You're at the rough part. So we've all been there. So
All right.
hang tight.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, honey. Come on in, Linda and Rob. Come and tell us how you guys are doing. We missed you. How'd the family go? survive it all.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, it seems like it's been forever.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You guys all good?
You good? Not so
We're
much.
hanging in by,
Okay.
by fingertips, but we have to start at the beginning.
Okay.
And so we're just here to listen and get motivated. And right now I'm on antibiotics, so
Okay. So it sounds like you're having a rough time. So you survived did you survive the family all being there?
yes, we
Is
did.
family- have they all left?
Yes, they have.
Okay. It's time for you. It's time to get you back on track. It's time to get the ball rolling again. We're getting ready to take I got a couple of newbies coming in the group if you want in our other group, but that's another topic of conversation. But for right now, we need to get you focused and back on track as a family, as a couple. Get back in. It's time. Linda, I'm going to look at you and tell you kind of the same thing I just told Pam. You've got to love yourself enough to jump back in. Same thing I want Miss Vicky needs from Wayne, Wayne and Vicky. You got to love yourself. We've got to push our bodies as best we can. And that doesn't mean giving excuses. That doesn't mean we've got to do this. And Linda, you know how to do this. And when you do it right, your body kicks in. So let me know how we can reach out, how we can help you. Where do we need to start you? You're not starting clear back at the beginning because you're starting from experience now.
Yep.
So you know what you're going to do. You know how to do this. We just got to get you one step at a time. And we got to go back, get those fat-based hormones woke up, get that stable and steady, then we'll push you through.
Basics.
Yep.
They never fail.
Back to chronometer, back to tracking, hitting those fat macros. All of those are things that you need to do. But it's the same thing. Same thing as we said to Pam. Linda, you've got to sit down. You need to dig on your why. You need to dig in on that why and figure out you need that why that's going to make you cry. Because I see you kind of fluffing it off and kind of just, you put everybody else first. You put your kids are there. You've probably killed yourself, taking care of everybody, having a good time. And that's part of being a grandma and a mom and a nana and all those fun things. But you got to take care of you, Linda. You can't let your health deteriorate. And you got to think about it as serious as if you don't take care of you, you're not going to be here to take care of them.
Mhm.
So I know that sounds silly, but it really is. It's that serious. If same thing. I mean, I say it to you guys, so I hear it from myself. If I don't take care of me, I'm not going to be here. And I've knocked on death's door too damn many times to worry about it. I need to do this. So that's why we're here with everybody to do this together. We're all struggle. We all have those moments in life that we've got to pull each other through and help each other through. So Linda, you got to do this. Jump in. You got my phone number.
And I realize too that I need to get back to where I was just to help push her. She sees me getting back in there. She keeps seeing my numbers come up and seeing, no, I'm fasting today. I'm fasting today. I'm taking that on myself to show her that it's time to get back into this and get serious so I can support her.
Yeah.
So, and it's a benefit for me, but it's to show her that she needs to do it too. It kind of pushes her and supports her at the same time.
But it's that leading, he is the leader of our family. And we are so blessed that we have some good men in here that are the leaders that, Wayne, he pushes, Eric pushes, Lance pushes, Rob pushes, these men, having Kevin, we've got these men that are strong, godly men that can help and push and lead. And it is harder for us girls. There's just no way around. I mean, we've got thousands of people around the world. It's harder for us girls. There's no doubt about it. It's tough. Our hormones fight us every step of the way. The brain health, the mitochondrial health, all of the metabolic health, all of it. We just seem to struggle and have to fight hard. So Linda, let's do this. Let's get you back on track. You got Rob supporting you. You know how to do this.
I know
And-
I need to because I feel horrible
Right?
again. Yeah.
Do you feel like I always say I can feel it in my rings. I know when I'm screwing up. My rings are tight again. I had to put safety things on my rings because my rings were too big. And they're not too big no more. So, but it's those things. You feel it in your clothes. You feel, my scrubs are, you just feel that, you feel all those little inflammation markers coming back. And it's one of those, that's our check engine light. That is our body saying, okay, whatever you're doing ain't working.
Hello.
It is not working right now. So we got to jump back in. And if that means we got to clean it up, we got to clean it up. And it's not fun. And especially when our emotions and our hormones are kicking in, it's hard. So
yeah.
Linda, is there anything I can help you with besides call you and push you?
Well, I need to be more than just a support. I have to, that we were talking about it. She was always monitoring herself, the blood glucose, the ketones and all this, and the drboz ratio.
Mhm.
And I figured if I just support her of what she's eating the same things, I'm good. But I need to be monitoring myself. And like what Lance was saying too,
Jump in and do
I
it
need
together.
to know where my numbers are at too, because everybody's body is different.
Yep.
Yep.
And it's
So
kind
I've
of
got
funny.
to get more than just the support. I've got to get serious about it myself.
Yeah. And the more you get serious, the easier it is for her to get serious.
Yep.
Because you're not just there to comfort her. She's not there alone doing this. No, you're right beside her saying, hey, here's my numbers. I ask her questions all the freaking time. No, what does this do? And why is this? And then we're constantly on each other about, and not on each other, but we talk about it all the time.
Yep.
And it's just something that we do. And then I think my involvement in it sparks hers, and it gives her more and more and more determination, courage, you name it. She can do it, but we're doing it together.
And I think that's part of it is coming back of, I love the feeling he's my leader. I trust he's got my back. I trust he's leading us in the path that we need to be on. It's like, he is my strength. He is my rock. And Rob, I know you will be that same way with Linda, but it's like, even though our numbers will be totally different, we will eat the exact same thing. Our numbers will be totally different, but it is such an encouragement because his numbers will go so much faster than mine. But it is so nice to know, what, we are doing it together and our numbers will reflect that. And when mine start dropping or I'm ready to kick off of a fast or what, it's like, I can't do this. We ask each other, are you sure? Before you make a stupid move, are you sure? We talk through it. Are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure we don't police each other. It's not you can't do this,
Right.
but it's don't do the mental game of eating on an urge or eating on the craving or anything like that. We work through the steps, work through first protocol. When I first started to feel like I'm going backwards or I'm not going to make it, your first protocol is, first of all, take 2 minutes, do some salt, do some water, give your brain the 15 minutes to calm that urge down, to calm that craving
And
down.
we talk about it.
And we talk through it.
It's been plenty of times that I come home, like a Monday, first day of the fast. I'm almost there. And all of a sudden it's like, man, I really want to eat. I really want to eat.
Right.
And just by me talking to her about it, then I'm like, you know what? Nah, no, I don't. Nah, I'll be okay.
We got this. And
So
you work
it's-
through the steps of a craving, or you work through the steps of, something that is knocking at the door, oh, this is just bugging me today. Or, he has meetings at work with food brought in and, stuff that he has to sit around, or candy dishes full, for people. There's so many little things that you got to learn to work through that they're just irritants sometimes. Sometimes it's just a pain in the butt. Like, I don't need it in front of me. I can do good because I can stay working, or I don't have access to things here at the house. He's out in public, it's hard. So you'll get, hang on, we got somebody in the chat. What we got? Oh, Anna, hang in there, honey. It'll get easier, I promise. But right now we're talking through.
We're some advanced level right now.
Yes, this is some of the advanced stuff of doing the brain work and working through an addiction and the cravings that we have. Those are all things that we all deal with at different levels, but it's the same process. So hang in there, Anna. We'll talk afterwards if you need to. If you have any questions, I'll stick around.
But no, Rob, jump in, man, and see where you're at.
Yep. Put your numbers up and jump in, because it's going to show exactly what your chemistry is doing. Even if you two eat the exact same thing, you're going to see the difference of how fast your hormones and everything are going to kick in as opposed to hers. So.
And one quick thing I'll shut up to. Just by you being more involved, you're not in necessarily a supportive role. You're involved. You've got skin in the game. And once you do that, you definitely you'll see results between you two. And it'll help spur each other.
I love this. And anybody that knows my story clear at the beginning, do you guys remember the story of when we were sitting on the couch and I said, I'm not doing, when Dr. Boz was first getting on me and we were first talking about jumping in with both feet and doing this. And it wasn't one of those moments of, I'm not doing this to fit my skinny jeans. I'm doing this to save my life. And I looked at him and when I was asking him, and I didn't get it, but he didn't sabotage me, but he didn't.
I was in that supportive role.
And I said, I can't sit and do this to the depth I need to do this and watch you eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches on the couch every night. I can't do it because I want that homemade strawberry jam that my grandma made. I want that peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I want that bowl of cereal. If you're doing it, then I want it. And when he finally understood that this was part of my journey to heal and to keep my butt alive, frankly, it wasn't just to stay in get in my skinny jeans or lose weight. This was to heal my brain and my body. And that's when he took that role that serious. Rob, just as you wouldn't go out and let her do something that's going to injure herself, or you wouldn't put her in harm's way in any way, shape, or form, spiritually, physically, or emotionally. You leading in this is that same process of you leading. So you're going to lead her physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And I just applaud you for even attempting that, but it's the same concept. It's not just, oh, it's just a donut. It's no big deal. Yes, it is. You wouldn't let her walk out in the middle of a street. You wouldn't let your kid, whatever, lead as you would love, as you love her. I mean, it's what we need.
Okay.
So, what is,
We needed to hear this.
Yeah. We needed to hear this. Yeah.
And that's what the tribe's for. That is why this matters.
Yep. That's why we're here. That's why we talk about it.
I had a lady from my own community today and I hope she's listening. I won't say any names, but you know who you are if I talk to you today. From my community, that it's one of those people that wants in so bad and doesn't have the support at home, and trying to explain to somebody that is why we meet. We all have better things to be doing any given night of the week than to sit here with a bunch of total strangers, but we are family. We do end up being each other's love and support because you don't have to defend it here. We're all with like-minded people, and that is what's going to heal each of our brains. Every person in this room is going to help heal your brain by listening to each other's stories. That is how we're going to grow and be a tribe. But because you don't have people that don't have the support at home, this is your support. So that's why we're a family. That's why this is so important to show up. Even if you don't want to get on and talk and you're busy, listen in. It's fine. Put an earbud in and just listen. I don't care. Just get the information and listen to like-minded people. Remember the speech when our kids were little. Most of us are parents or grandparents. I always said to my kids, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. It applies to us adults too. Show me your friends and who you're around, and I'll show you what your health is going to be and what direction your body and your family and your life is going to go. Do the same thing. We are your like-minded people. We want to build health every day. So. Good job, Linda. You reach out, give me a call.
Get that why, and Rob, jump in, man.
Jump in.
Both feet.
Yep, I'm gonna have to go ahead and get the Keto Mojo and the strips and all that. I'm not looking forward to poking my finger.
I know. I know. You get used to it.
Still
I've
laughs
done
because
it.
She
you
laughs at me
before.
all the time.
Oh, ow.
you can't do it without flinching and making faces,
I'm-
moaning and groaning.
I'm a lot better now.
Okay.
So
I'll
it'll be all right.
it up.
Let me know.
I
Remind
won't
me,
miss
Rob,
that.
and I'll send you the links for everything if you need anything. Please let me know or go to
Okay,
the
great.
website if you need anything. That'll work. All right.
Good
come
job,
on, you.
guys.
Good job, guys. You got this. Kev, come in and give us some rock star numbers. Tell us what you're doing.
He was driving.
Hang on, you're muted. I can't read lips. Not that good. Nope.
You have to hit the button.
He's saying bad words right now.
You're on your phone. Touch your screen.
All right. Stina, come on in while Kevin figures out his mic.
All right, Kevin, sorry I'm stealing your thunder. You'll figure it out. All right, so where am I at? So some of you know I've
Welcome
been
home.
I've been doing this a while. Coming out of vacation, I still am not got ketones. So there's a picture from vacation, which was a great vacation.
Beautiful.
But
Nice.
so I'm going back in my toolbox. So some of you know, I've been doing this for a while. I decided that I would do a sardine challenge this week, started last night, and I am going to go until I have some decent ketones. I'm not setting a number to that, but I knew that after a week of coming back from vacation, eating right and still not seeing ketones told me I need to push. So this is what my push is this week. And I'm hoping for some good ketones. If I don't get the results I want, you know, I'll finish my week out like I normally do, which is 2 meals a day. And then next week I may start water fast. So we'll see where I end up. But so, and this is where I'm going to say non-scale victories, but despite not having ketones, my blood sugar is staying below 100.
Good.
The scale hasn't moved, but I went down a size. So I just like, whatever.
Right?
Right. That's what I said. I said, whatever.
When
We don't
The-
care
the
what the scale
scale-
says.
The scale lies or it's the devil. I can't figure out whether the mirror or the scale is the liar and the devil, but whichever way. The scale is an incidental measurement for me now. I do rely on my glucose and my ketones and my chronometer to tell me where I'm at. So that's what I'm doing.
Good job, Stina. First of all, coming
Nice.
off vacation. Good job. Anybody that doesn't know, Stina is a veteran and she's a coach and she knows this chemistry like the back of her hand. So she knows exactly what to do, how to push her body. And that is the biggest thing you're going to learn is you're going to learn when is it time to build and establish your foundation and when is it time to push. And she knows she's got her foundation laid. She's got her tools in her toolbox that she's getting back on track with. And then if that does not work, she will be ready to push. And that's where the water fast come in. But even if she pushes to a water fast next week, she's laid her chemistry back down stable again. So her chemistry will be ready to carry her through a fast.
and that's where
So
that
That's
consistency
the magic.
that's where that consistency comes in.
And if it's not, right? So if I don't see the numbers I would expect this week because I know what sardines do for me. And if they don't, then next week will most likely be another sardine challenge, right? So, because if I'm not where I need to be, then I got to keep eating the sardines. So that's, and this is what I'll say to people. It's like knowing what you got in your toolbox and knowing when to pull it out is going to be some of the magic you learn and not giving up. Because some people would say, oh, I lost all my ketones. I'm giving up. I'm not doing this anymore. But it's like, nope, I'm digging deeper. I'm going to go figure this out. So,
And that's exactly what that means. She just nailed it. When you're not getting the results you want, it doesn't mean it don't work. It means you
Right.
need to dig deeper and figure out what is the next level that is going to stress your mitochondria. Because the whole goal in this is cellular health. I
There's
want to
another step.
rebuild a new healthy cell. I
Yeah.
want to hit autophagy to clean up an old crappy cell. I want my brain to feel better. I want all of that to be happening. I want the broken proteins to be digested and spit back out and grow some good healthy cells, whether that's a liver cell, kidney cell, brain cell. I don't care. I want them all new and fresh. and healthy ones. So Stina, I always applaud you. I think it's great how you know your chemistry and you know the steps. That is the difference of the way we do keto here and the way that there's a million ways of keto out there. But if you're doing this for the cellular health and the brain health, there is a step-by-step process to learn how to judge your personal chemistry and how to push it forward, when to make it stable and when to push. And you learn to do that with learning to do the numbers correctly.
And I wanted to, you brought up a point too, where you're going to, if you're going to do the sardines this week, and if they don't get you where you're wanting to go, you're going to stick with them until they do. I like that kind of point that you brought out, because sometimes you need to be in a place for a little while until your body actually reacts. And you need to sometimes you just need to sit and wait a minute. Hold space a minute and let your body work. And then all of a sudden, then it starts working. Then you can decide, okay, now I'm going to move. But we're constantly, I think a lot of us on here are constantly pushing, and we're constantly moving and going up and down the continuum. Sometimes we just need to pick a spot and stay there a minute and not necessarily worry about moving here or there. We just need to stay there a minute and let our bodies react to where we're at.
Yeah, we need to trust our bodies are doing something we can't see that is going to benefit us in the future. So, it's this instantaneous culture we're in. It's not that instantaneous. You gotta stick, and and it's not easy. I'm smiling and everything right now, but
it's good.
I'll say this in all the kindness, but I put myself back in sardine purgatory because I knew I needed it, and that's where I am, right? Yep. So, but you figure it out, and I know I'll have some benefit from it, even if they aren't super high ketones. I'll have some benefit. I know that. So, anyway, I wish you all the best this week.
Good job, Stina. We're proud.
Good luck.
Yes, we love you. You do the work.
Yep.
Okay, Lori, you want to come check in? What the heck?
No, what'd you do? There you go.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, Lori.
Yeah, I'm listening to everybody and I'm like, okay, wow, I've learned so much. And it's
There's
so
a
much
lot
of
of
this
stuff.
is like, a lot of this is really speaking to me because last Monday was the day that I started a reset for real. And I went on the BBB and E thing. That morning, my drboz ratio was 349. I nearly cried. I was like, good grief, nothing's happening. My ketones were at 0.3, and I did BBB and E, and I did the BHB capsules. I don't like the drink. I don't like the stevia. But I did those 3 times a day and started checking my numbers at later times in the day. And most afternoons, I was in the ratio somewhere between 40 and 20, which I was doing the happy dance going, proteins are healing, things are fixing, Yeah. So that's been good. I had a little bit of trouble with sleep later in the week, but I realized that the one day I took some BHB and some MCT oil a little late in the day.
That'll keep you up.
And I was up till about 3 a.m.
Yep.
I was on super fuel. I actually thought about going out and walking around the neighborhood, things like that.
You get the best cleaning done on those modes,
right? I was like, oh gosh, I cannot believe I cannot sleep. But yeah, the numbers have been getting better like every single day, and that's been great. And posting the numbers, and I think it's Linda. Is it Linda Atkins or Susan?
Susan Atkins.
Suzanne Atkins.
Yes.
Posted one day. She goes, "Your numbers are going up," and I was like, "Yes."
She's rocking it. She's amazing.
Because that made me so happy, and I was like, "You ought to see my afternoon numbers." And so they're doing really good. So all of that's been good, and I've been in like Keto Continuum 5 now for a couple of weeks, and I think I'm ready to move up to 6 and take the fats out of the coffee. However, it took me 2 days to find some decent heavy cream last week, and I stocked up, and I'm not letting that stuff go to waste.
Right? Finish it up, and then you'll be ready. Make a commitment.
So then I'm going to start, because when you guys were talking about heavy cream last week, and you said that, I think I blacked out on the video and went running for the fridge because I was like, Well, the gums I wasn't so worried about, but I found out mine had polysorbate 80 in it, and I was like, "What is?
Ooh.
Oh, that's bad."
Mhm.
Yep.
So I was in a panic and I was crying because I had to throw away my heavy cream. Because I said, I'm just not gonna put that garbage in my body anymore. It's not, if it's not a whole food or it's not a good food, it's not going in anymore.
Not worth it.
Amen.
It's
Right there.
it's
Said
just
it.
not. And that's when you're talking about the support. My son lives at home. He moved back home after his divorce. And so he's been home for a couple of years, and he keeps saying he might start carnivore or keto, but he's not there, and that's fine. He has a stash somewhere in the house. Hidden in somewhere in his area, he has stuff hidden, and he keeps it, so
Good.
it's not tempting me. I don't even know what comes in the house. And he's supportive of what I'm eating. He doesn't try to get me to eat anything else. And my daughter got on board with it. So that's nice.
Nice.
But I don't have, a whole lot of people. And I thought we were going to sort of get a support group going here with some people in my church. And I was talking to people this weekend because they kept talking about it. And I was like, I just don't think I can handle it. They're all, well, I'm doing keto, except I use sugar on. And I was like, that's not keto. Well, I'm still eating the bread. Is that no?
No.
Well, I can get bread. I'm getting no. And so finally I said, well, you guys, I said, can I just recommend you read Dr. Boz's book? And then let's talk. And I said, and I have a copy. I finished mine. I'm more than happy to loan it out. But that's kind of a thing. It's like, I don't have like a lot of, and at work, I deal with a lot of sugar pushers who say, eat the cake, life is short.
All right.
Well, it is. And
but I don't need to make it shorter.
I don't need to feel like crap.
You're making it shorter.
I want my years. And I want, like, when you talk about your why, my why is that a couple of months ago, my grandson was here visiting, and his auntie Bob, as he calls my daughter, was babysitting him. And they were talking about doing something that evening. And he said, well, we can't, because we can't take Gigi. And she said, why? And he goes, because she's really old. I'm 60. And
out of the mouth of babes.
And I was like, and she said, she was like, what? And she kind of pushed him, and he said, well, she moves so slow. And she just never feels good. And she's so tired all the time. And it was before I had the surgery. It was kind of, finding out, I knew things were wrong, but still I had to have surgery. And he said, she's just not fun anymore. And I was like, oh my gosh, when this child was a 6-week-old baby, I held him and I promised him, I said, we will go on lots of adventures and we will have lots of fun. And I did say we will have lots of good food. Well, we're eating lots of bacon, and that's still good food. So we're good.
Yes.
But that was my, it was like when she told me that, I started crying. I said, he's 4. I don't want him to think that I'm too old to have to go out and play with him. And, that's
your why right there.
That's my why. I
got it.
can't keep up as much as I want to yet, but he was here last time, and he asked me, this was just like a week or so ago. He said, are you still really old? And I looked at him and I said, you sound really old. What does that mean? And he said, well, it means you can't play. And I said, I can play. What do you want to do? He goes, I want to go swimming. I said, let's go. And,
Good for you.
and he had me winded. He outlasted me.
Fake it. He'll never know.
Right? I was just like, okay, we can't go in the deep end because I have to be where I can stand up. But
Lori, what a cool part to know. There is no other program that I know of or am aware of that you age in reverse.
Right.
And you can look at numerous people on here that start out one way. I was one of them. I mean, I walked with a walker 4 years ago.
Yeah,
I couldn't Lance would carry the laundry up and down the steps because I couldn't carry it up and down the steps myself.
Right.
Kevin on here, he couldn't even hardly get up and down my steps. I mean, he's walking 7 miles a day now with his dog. It's like those kind of things.
Right.
What other program do you know that is aging you in reverse? Even if you just look at everybody's faces, we always say, when I start a new coaching group and I start that group and we get going in it, you can tell about that 6-8 week mark. Everybody hits that glow of the cellular turnover in their skin and their faces, and they just look so everybody looks so pretty and handsome
Right.
and everything. And it's like, if it's doing that on the outside, imagine what it's doing on the inside.
Right.
And those, what else can you do? I don't care what program you want to go for. I don't care what science, Jenny Craig, Weight Watch. I don't care what you want to throw out there. Is there any program you know that people look younger 3 months down the road, a year down the road? Look at Dr. Boz's picture. She's absolutely beautiful in
gosh.
every
Yes.
video. But she looks like a new woman. I mean, she's absolutely beautiful. That's autophagy. That's turning that over. That's learning to do that right. So
Oh yeah.
there's just
Yeah.
a
The
lot.
first afternoon that I did, because I'm the one guy said he didn't like to stick himself. Oh, it's no big deal.
Right?
I had to have my daughter come over for a couple of days and stick me because I was like, I can't do it. She because she used to be a health worker, so it just doesn't. She'll stab you.
You don't care.
It's all good.
And she was like turning the thing up. She's going, no, you've got it set too low. I was like, you trying to do pierce the whole finger? But now I'm like, I gotta go check my numbers again. My fingers are getting a little sore. But I have checked my numbers multiple times a day and found out, my morning numbers still aren't great, but they've steadily gotten better all week. And afternoon numbers are really good. And today I did less BHB than I have been. I cut it, instead of 4 capsules, I did 2, and instead of 3 times, I did twice. And it's still, the numbers are still, staying up there. So I'm like, just my body is trying to produce its own ketones finally.
Yep.
I
That
feel
same
like
place, if you remember, that's where Eric was last week or the week before.
Yeah.
It's one of those, you got to play with that a little bit. So you pull that out and see if your body can still maintain it and still keep going. And that's where you're going to learn where your chemistry's at. So
Right.
Lori, hang in there. You got it. And it's one step at a time. Stay going forward. And you got that why figured out.
Right. Oh, I wanted to ask you about the groups, because I went on there, like on your website, and there was one that said beginner and one that not. And I was like, I don't know which one to sign up for.
Basically what it comes down to is if you're at the beginning level of keto continuum 1 through 6,
Okay.
that's the
So,
beginner. If
beginner,
you're still
okay,
reestablishing hormones and stuff like that, but if you're ready to push
Yeah,
the next
and that's
level,
where
then I
I
do 7 through 12.
Okay.
So I just break it up in 2 because if I put it on to 12,
Basically right in half.
the hard part of that is for us girls, we hit to that 5, 6, 7 stage and we have to extend it. The guys are ready to keep pushing. So it's hard to run a class in those 12 weeks because sometimes we have to idle for a month in between.
Yeah.
So it gives you a break. You can get through the ending of the beginning and get those hormones established, ride that out so you're stable and ready to push.
Yes.
Then jump back in and we'll put you in the advanced, then we push it back through. So we cut the price in half, drop the time in half, and let each group go at their own pace. So yeah. So
That
that's
sounds good. Thank you.
So good job.
Keep it up, Lori.
Yeah, keep it up.
Thanks.
Okay. Wayne, come check in. Tell us how you're doing.
What's up, Wayne?
We miss you. Where's Miss
Hi
Vicky?
there.
How goes it, brother?
Not bad. Still going through some non-diet related challenges, just stressors. But trying to just compartmentalize those so they're not impacting other things, making bad choices or anything. But I'm not making bad food choices. My eating window has been way too far open. A couple of weeks ago, I stopped taking my numbers when I was really stressed the worst, and I haven't got back into it. So I need to do that. You talk about half-assing it. I'm like 1/3 or quarter-assing it is all I'm doing right now. So all in all, I'm not in a bad place, but not where I need to be. Vicky leaves tomorrow. I got to bring her to the airport for roughly 4 weeks. So that's stressful, but at the same time gives me the option of basically doing whatever the heck I want with my diet. And last time she was out of town, I just bought a bunch of strip steaks and was doing 1 meal a day with that. So I figured I'm going to probably try to do the same thing this time as well. Got the freezer stocked up with meat ready to go for that. Just listening to other people talk, I was reminded of something I was just reading. I picked up the Atomic Habits book. And one of the things it was talking about the difference between the difficulty of starting good habits and stopping bad habits. And it talks about, stopping a bad habit is difficult because the pain is now. You're giving up something, and then the reward is later. And you talk about your health. We're not, let's be honest, most of us are not talking about our health now. We're making decisions now for our health down the road. We're hoping, there's no guarantees in life, but we're hoping that as we age, we're going to be in better position because of the choices we're making today. And we really just got to keep reminding ourselves of that. Yeah, good. We might see better numbers now. We might start feeling better. We might be able to start doing things, but you got to start focusing on what the long game is. And that, okay, 10 years from now, if I change my lifestyle now, I'm not going to be one of those people that you see that can't move around in the stores and spend time with their grandkids and things like that. That's hard to make that a goal because it's so far off. It doesn't even seem like it's, something that I'm going to place a lot of weight on, but as you find your why, I think you got to kind of balance out those short-term things and those long-term things.
Yep.
I'm probably just rambling, but
no.
The point is we need to find a way to stay on task, and some of those things are going to be short-term and some of those are going to be long-term. If you make your goal checking your numbers every day, you make your goal, monitoring your, logging your food, then you can focus on those things as being short-term wins. It's not a goal of how many ketones you have or what your blood sugar is in the morning. Quite frankly, those are somewhat out of your control. You can make those decisions, but when your sugar starts improving, who knows?
Right.
When your ketones are going to be improving, who knows? But if the goal is focusing on, okay, well, Tammy and Lance are telling me I should be logging my food and checking my numbers every day, those things are completely inside your control. It's not relying on your chemistry. So make those your short-term goals.
Good way of looking at it.
Yep.
I'm
like
preaching to myself because I'm not doing those things. But then you can celebrate those wins and don't focus on the scale. Don't focus on the ketone numbers. Don't focus on the blood glucose. Focus on doing those things that you can do. And my goal now that Vicky's next trips are leaving are to get those things happening again so that when she gets back in 4 weeks, you can say, okay, this is what I did over the last 4 weeks. You said you wanted to do this. Okay. Now it's your turn.
And that puts you in a better position to help her. When you get your stuff squared away and your habits, in 4 weeks, that'll be another habit that you have of checking your numbers. And that way you can be, this is what I'm doing. And she can jump in, just like we were talking about earlier, about leading. And you can lead her to help support her and help, drive her and help just help her in every way that she needs it when you're not focused on you. And it's going to set you up for a better success to help her with her success.
Wherever you can get the motivation, you got to get
Absolutely.
it. I mean, as twisted as it sounds, I have so many people that come up to me and say, wow, you've lost a ton of weight. You look great. And I got to say, one of my motivators right now is I don't want to embarrass myself by going backwards. I don't want these same people looking at me in 6 months and say, gosh, what happened to you?
Here's one thing too. I heard Dr. Boss say this, and she said it on a program. I forget when exactly it was, and it was about her husband. And she was doing this type of lifestyle, and he wasn't necessarily following along. And she said to him one day that, hey, if you're going to be Mr. Boz, you might need to be doing the same thing I'm doing, and kind of called him out on it. And that kind of really hit home of what we do. I mean, I can't sit here and say you guys need to do this and that and this and that and not do it myself. So it just gives me more drive to get back to where I was, to set an example. And it just, it helps. So it's not a bad thing, but it's just a motivator for me to say, hey, I need to set the example. You know, my body goes quick. I need to get back in it to show the people that can do it quick. This is what happens.
But what a blessing to have all of you men on here that are good leaders. And I can't applaud all of you enough. That I think, a strong woman has a strong man, and I
Vice versa.
And I love that we have those kind of leaders on here. So it's just one of those, not necessarily a spouse, but we have good men as leaders. And I want to thank all of you. So I think it's pretty sweet to.
Well, we all go through seasons that aren't great times. But you can't use that as an excuse forever.
Correct.
Yep. Yes. She was a
Yeah.
Teresa just said she called it her hubby was an embarrassment, and yes, that's what she did.
That was tough.
That was
tough.
hardcore.
But
That was a video that isn't that old. You should be able to find it on YouTube.
that was just a few weeks ago.
It was
Yeah.
like within the last month.
yeah.
So, no,
Good job, Wayne.
everything's going great. I know I rambled. Hopefully somebody can take a snippet out of something I said. But
Hopefully you
that's
can
just kind of how all our brains work. You're just kind of all over the place with this.
And the more we hear it, the more you say it, the more it'll stick.
The more we all learn.
Yep.
So
One thing
I
I
have
did
a
throw
question
out
for
there.
Wayne. I have a question for Wayne. We started
Yeah.
looking up Atomic Habits, and it looks like there's more than one author. Which one are you reading or recommend?
Oh,
It's a cream
Well-
color. What's his name? I got it. Hang on.
Okay.
Go ahead. Keep talking, guys. I'll figure it out here.
I think it starts with a C. Is it Collins, or I might be able to look
It's
it
a
up.
white
on
book with
Amazon.
white and gold, white and
White and gold. Oh, there it is.
James Clear or something like that.
James Clear.
James
Yep.
Clear.
Boom, for the win.
James Clear.
Yep.
Yep, James Clear. I
James
guess,
Clear.
guys, another book that I would recommend for you, simply because I know that your faith is important to you as well. There's
Yes.
a book called The Power of Change, or The Power to Change, by a guy named Craig Groeschel. It's Groschel, I think. And
Okay,
he's
yeah,
a
we'll-
pastor. And actually, I read his book before I read Atomic Habits. And
Okay.
it's like dude, you just knocked off James Clear's book and you just put kind of a faith twist on it, which is fine. I missed if he ever gave credit to James Clear, because a lot of it is the same stuff. It just has kind of a faith slant to it.
Okay. So that was
Um,
Power to Change by James Groeschel.
Yes,
Okay.
that's another one.
I love
Both
it.
easy reads, both encouraging. And I find myself just needing to constantly be listening to positive things. I've tried to clear out listening to 24-hour news and
Oh,
anything
turn that
just
crap off.
sucks your
Yes.
life out of you. Anything that you find yourself just getting anxious or stressed when you're listening to it, I just try to turn it off.
This needs to go. Yep. Good job. Thanks, Wayne. Tell
Okay.
Miss Vicky safe trip, and we love her, and hope
Yep,
Thanks,
I'm driving her
Wayne.
to the airport tomorrow.
let her know we'll miss her.
Hang in there, man, and do what you hit your goals. So you be good.
I am going to throw something out there. And I'm probably not the only one. Who was we just talking to? I was talking about the cream. Was that
That's Lori.
Lori? Yes. Okay. So here's my thing. I'm kind of with you on this. I have We have access to good cream. I have one thing of good cream left. When it goes, I'm tapping.
Whoa.
I will show you. I'm going to show you the progression of how I wean myself off of it, because I miss that creamy taste. That's the only warm hug I really enjoy. So I am going to try, but I've got to get the heavy cream out of my body. So I know that's part of my inflammation problem. So I'm probably going to make a post. What's today? I'll probably make a post this week of starting who's going to join me on removing our cream challenge. So
Kevin's in.
Kevin's in.
I
So
will join you. I don't have an inflammation problem. Well, now I know it. I had a polysorbate 80 problem since I switched over, but yeah, I'm going to give it up. It's gone.
Yep. I'm with you. So I like coffee with my cream. Absolutely. I like, Lance always teases me, I have cream with a shot of caffeine in it. So it's pretty much what I need to get me. I love it. So it's one of those things. I know it's not good for my body. I know my numbers do so much better. I can't handle it. So I'm going to back off, but I've got a few steps that I've learned along the way. I've done this before. I get it removed out and I'm totally fine. It goes, it's just breaking that addiction in my brain and that warm hug that I want and things like that. So we'll work through it. And I'm going to show you the steps that I use and the different products that I use to do it. I take steps down until I get myself down to totally off of it, and then I'm good. So it'll get there, but it's going to be one of the things I throw out this week. All right, who wants to come in? Kevin, come on in. Did we get your mic figured out? Come on, Kev. You're killing me.
Unmute.
Dude,
You have to do it. We can't do it.
I can't do it.
You're killing me,
Fine.
Smalls.
There it
Finally,
is.
We got you.
oh my God. I don't like using a phone. There's so much to say. All you guys motivate me. I know I say it over and over, but I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Your struggles motivate me. And if you're paying attention to what I'm doing recently, I'm 14 or 15 months into one meal a day, and I've been struggling. I've had super highs and super lows. I've had to retune everything. In fact, last week or the week before, that's when I realized heavy cream was not good for me.
Yep.
So I'm with you. I got to get rid of it.
It needs to go, but I miss it.
And Wayne, you probably saw that I was in New Jersey. I always make fun of New Jersey. I lived there a long time. That doesn't matter. The reason I was in New Jersey was to visit my mother-in-law. Just before we left to go see my mother-in-law, she fell. Her whole side of one side of her face is black and blue.
Oh.
She has 6 stitches in her knee, 6 broken ribs, and she's just laying in a bed, and she has to be vibrated and all kinds of stuff fixed to her to breathe. And Wayne, you have no idea how profound and powerful what you said earlier. You have got to take care of your health now, because I'm looking at myself at 62, finally getting my act together. So when I'm 84 like her, I won't be there.
Yep.
I don't want to be there. And if you would have seen it, it's sad and pathetic, but she personally put herself there. She did it. Because along the way, she could have got her knees replaced. She could have stopped eating the crap food. The list goes on. Keep your mind busy. Keep yourself busy. Tammy and Lance know I do all kinds of stuff, different kinds of jobs, you name it. I do all kinds of stuff. I got to keep my mind busy, which I always have, thank goodness. So you did not waste any breath, Wayne. And for those of you who might not have been listening, I saw it. And it's sad. You don't want to be there.
Yep.
You just don't want to be there. And oh, by the way, a victory in all that is some young nurse, she starts talking to me and she is doing keto. She called it something blaster, something. I can't remember. I even looked it up and I can't even remember, because it's the same thing that we're doing, only it really reinforces getting all kinds of supplements, like the MCT is huge, and a couple other things. Anyway, But she was a little bit despondent about it because she had started, stop. And now she's pumped up because she saw someone who lived it and had the results. And she's a young, thin woman, nice looking young woman, maybe 25-ish, I don't know. But she knows that she needed to do something for her health. And while I was there, she had gone down to the lounge and a couple of her peers had essentially ridiculed her because she wouldn't eat the brownies that were there.
Good for her.
That's huge.
You had to be there. I was genuinely excited because the young people are the ones that need this. We need it, obviously, but the young people need to get it. And by the way, guess what I told her when people make fun of her doing that? I channeled Jennifer and I said, well, you have an easy answer for him. And that is none of you guys, because they were also making fun of her for her eating style.
I know where he's going. Yep.
Oh, yeah. None of you said a word when I was eating McDonald's and French fries and pizza and getting fat and getting inflammation. I said, just throw that at him. She about fell over.
Yep,
Like,
it is so true. And anybody doesn't know what he's saying. We're talking about my daughter-in-law because our demographic and our age group, most of us are fighting disease and illness and stuff like that. So it's one level. But the demographic that he's talking about is my kids' age and my grandkids' age. And think of that generation that we're totally missing. They're not sick enough to want to do it for their health yet. They still want to fit in their skinny jeans. But my daughter-in-law that does do it with my grandkids and my son as best as she can, she, buys the groceries and everything. So they do the best they can. And you cannot believe the people that give her crap over doing this to her kids. And she's like, none of you care if I would run my kids through the drive-through 3 times a week or 3 times a day or whatever. Nobody says a word, but you go ahead and say that you're going to feed your kids nothing but healthy meats and fats. And people come out of the woodwork to, a neglected mom and you're this and you're that. And it's like, none of you cared and she's adamant about it. And I love the spunkiness in her and she's a strong woman. And I'm so proud of her for standing and saying, yep, but none of you gave 2 craps about this when she was running them through the drive-through or whatever. So
pumping them full of sugar.
It doesn't, I can hand them a Gatorade or a popsicle or whatever, and nobody says anything, but let me hand them a can of ketones and they're coming off the rails. So just keep that in mind. So good job, Kev. And we love that you share it with everybody. And
but one more thing is, yesterday, my blood sugar was 65. Today, it was 104. Now, I know why, blah, 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 and all. We don't have to have a discussion. That can be demoralizing, but I don't let it demoralize me because I have the answer.
Yep.
And all of you guys are on your ways to getting the answer. It's frustrating for me to have 104, but I'll get over it.
He'll fix it, though.
But you know what you probably did. And you could probably know before you even take that measurement, hey man, I'm probably going to be high because I've done this, this, and this.
Yep.
Yeah. And my sensitivity changes. I'm constantly changing. I freaked out when I figured out what it was. It's like, how can that be?
Yep.
But that's why the cream's gone.
Yep.
Because of my sensitivity.
As tuned in as you have now made your body sensitive to small changes. Because you are so in it that any little change, you're going to constantly have to tweak it. You'll find new things that come up that bother you that didn't 5 months ago, 8 months ago.
And I always look at this as a deep cleaning and think of it, the crap that I used to eat that, my body used to be able to chug down 2 of those big jumbo sweet teas from McDonald's.
Your resistance.
It was normal to me. That was okay. I could do that. It was iced tea. It was good. Yeah. I was double fisting them a day, kind of thing. And it's like, good Lord, I couldn't get one of those in me if my life depended on it now. That's
huge.
But I was so used to it. So it's such a good job that you're getting cleaner and cleaner. So you'll find in the same thing, you're going to get narrowed down on what restaurants you can go to because you're going to learn what restaurants mess you up and which ones don't. Ones you could eat a month ago, you probably can't touch right now. So, it's going to keep doing that. But I look at that as what a blessing our body is. We have a self-healing machine that God has given each of us. And what a blessing that we're starting to listen to that check engine light. We're starting to listen when those problems come up.
That just tells me that you have pulled out all your intolerance out of your body. and everything that you've built up resistance to, whatever, it is all gone from your body, because when you put that element back in there, your body says, oh, I can't take it.
Yep. And it probably did before, and we didn't listen to it.
Yep, absolutely.
So good job.
Good job, Kev.
I know we're running over tonight, guys. Anybody else want to check in tonight? I know Eric and Michelle, you guys are there. Tanya, Teresa, and does anybody want to check in tonight that hasn't? I think we've got all the faces. Got any questions over there?
Nope, I don't have any questions. YouTube's been kind of quiet.
YouTube. Eric, come on in. Tell us how you. Hey, baby. Baby's even home.
Hello.
Come on in. Check it, guys. Tell us how you're doing quick.
I'm really good. I
Yeah.
finally got more than 0.4 on the ketones.
That was
So I have to
awesome. I
say
seen
something,
that post.
yeah. We were talking a little bit earlier about just be patient and write it out. It's like I think in this whole time we've been doing this, I was at 0.7 was the highest I'd gotten. Usually it's 0.2 to 0.4 on the ketones. Glucose has steadily been under 100, but still, it's like finally this morning it was actual ketones, so it was lovely.
Do it
But yeah,
again.
I'm not going to be in tomorrow night, so I had to jump in tonight. But yeah.
That's awesome though. Rinse and repeat. And that is
Huge.
where cleaning up and going back to the beginning and getting those fat-based hormones. I mean, Michelle, you're doing the work. So I'm so proud of you and I'm so happy. It's just you're going to get that shift going.
Now
So
just ride it right there. Just
Yeah, nothing
Stay-
specifically different or anything. But one thing I was going to ask, because it came up at work today, I had off and on the last few days, I've just had an upset stomach. I mean, not anything bad, just kind of some indigestion and stuff. Tried the apple cider vinegar, but like if I don't have that at work, is there anything that you recommend to help with that? Because like in past, I just grabbed like a peppermint, and that helps. That's no problem. But
my
obviously,
biggest
don't
go-to
wanna-
on most, my go-to for all of that is bone broth. I don't know if you have access to taking any to work with you or anything like that, but bone broth is the cure-all for me. It really
Okay.
helps with just about anything. My granddaughter's sick in Florida and I'm telling her you need to go get some bone broth, kind of thing. It's the answer for kind of everything, but
Everything.
bone broth will help heal, whatever's going on in your digestion. You're going to have to heal that gut, heal everything, that permeability, heal everything from entrance to exit. If, the apple cider vinegar is always a good fix too, if you don't
Yeah.
have it with you, but don't be afraid to put a little shot bottle of it in your purse and keep it with you too. But the bone broth's going to be your best answer. It really will.
Okay.
Yep. As
Thank
your
you.
gut
And
health
now,
gets-
and now, thanks to hubby, I have bone broth. So yeah.
See?
woohoo!
Hubby gets the award of the night.
Kudos.
How much bone broth do you drink on a serving? You going with 8 ounces, 4 ounces? I mean, what?
Everybody's
If I could drink that thing all night if I.
I used to get some like that. I mean, in a
Wow.
coffee cup instead of coffee, but I wouldn't chug it. I would just sip it.
Sure.
So
it's one of those. Yes, it is breaking your fast. Eric had a good question. You want to know about the bone broth breaking fast? Yes, technically, yes, it's going to break your fast. But when we talk about breaking a fast and stepping to the next level, it is the least of all evils. So if that bone broth is going to get you through it, now I don't want you to use it though it's a tool. It's not a crutch.
right.
And there's a difference. Use it as a tool if you need it. Needing it doesn't mean just outside your eating window all day long. You're still putting it in that eating window. Now, if you're going to break a fast and you can't make it any further and you're just not able to do it, then go to, a half cup of bone broth or something and get yourself through it. There is no recipe to how much or anything like that. Salt it up, good, healthy bone broth, sip it nice and slow till you don't need it. Use it as a tool. It is a good tool. It's a handy tool. It's a tool that helps a multitude of sins, but it's not a crutch. Doesn't mean just a free for all eating window.
Right. Exactly. If it'll break your fast, it'll also extend your eating window.
Yeah.
So you got to keep that in mind.
Right. I figure if I'm going to have it, I'll probably sip it for a little while daily just to get the body used to it. I'll probably do it while I'm cooking whatever breakfast, whatever meal I'm going to have. I'll probably just,
Perfect.
while I'm making it, sip it and be done with it, type of thing like that.
That would be perfect. Yep.
And the other way that I use it and you guys are going to find this out as we get ready to go into the elimination of the cream process, bone broth is my easy fix because I don't need cream in my bone broth. So when I want that warm, yummy, creamy hug, bone broth is my go-to for that. So yes, it still has some fat in it. It's not going to it's technically going to break my fast, but it is better than a cup of cream.
That, and I think she's starting to like my way of coffee too.
right
with
now.
the butter and the salt in it.
A
So
little
I'm
butter
fine.
and salt in the coffee.
I'm
might have
good
to
with
try
it
that,
black with
yeah.
Soleil water in it, but
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
I do that when we're fasting.
One
And
last
it-
question.
Yes.
What's with this 3+ pound rebound after you do a fast when you don't? No way on God's green earth did I eat 10,000 calories, but yet the scale the next day said a 3
Said
pound
otherwise.
plus. It's like, I mean, I know the weight's gonna creep up a little bit just depending how careful you are, but when you see that big of a jump within that, it's like, wait, no.
Here, so funny thing, we both went up 3 pounds, and that would put me up more than what I had been for like the whole week before I started the fast. So I was kind of like, that's
So
really
yeah,
weird.
what's
Okay,
the deal
so
with that?
there is a big point in here where Dr. Boz says don't even get on the darn scale right now. You got to get this chemistry stable before you're going to trust any of that again, because you're going to bring in water weight, you're going to let go of water weight, you're going to bring in the fats, you're going to let go of some fats. You're going to get a big swoosh. And Eric, I'll tell you, you're probably getting ready to hit the swoosh. I mean, every one of you guys have hit it. I mean, Kevin, Lance, Wayne, every one of the men on here have hit the swoosh. They get it. And then it's like you gain, you may even gain some weight while you're building those fats. But when you really start peeing out that inflammation and that inflammation starts going down, you guys literally do the swish it's just
It's if you think about it, it's like a tanker truck with the liquid inside. When you take off, it all runs to the back. And then as your speed kind of regulates, it all comes rushing back out in front. So you're going to get some of those ebb and flows of your body doing things as it sets itself up for change.
Just don't jump off the wagon. This is not the time.
Yeah, no,
No.
it was just, I expected it to go up a little bit, but I'm like, whatever.
Right.
All right.
And sometimes you just got to write it out. And it's one of those things you're going to learn to adjust those fats and adjust things as your chemistry gets going. But right now it's getting that chemistry stable. It's
Sure.
getting you stable and ready to push. So you're in labor right now. You're not quite ready to push, but you're getting there. So we're thinking of it as birthing a new life.
But nice job on your numbers.
Yes, good job, guys. Because I know
Yeah,
stay consistently. Both of you.
Both of them.
Quite surprised when I saw that it said high, and then when I clicked on it, when it loads, it said there's the red high button in the app, and it said your ketones are over 8. I was like, so that's why I did it again, but it still came up as a 5, so I was quite happy with that. So
I ain't never been a 5.
Yeah. So good job. And again, your body will regulate. You're overshooting ketones right now, but it'll regulate. It's going to balance back out. It won't stay there forever.
Don't get discouraged when you start getting numbers down in the 3s or 2s on a consistent basis
You're
from
going to get
being
more
at the
efficient.
5s.
Yeah.
Because your body's only going to produce the amount of ketones it needs to run on. At some point, when you get more efficient, when you get further down the journey, you're going to have a place where your ketones may come down, and that don't get discouraged because your body is regulating the amount that it needs.
It's getting more efficient.
yeah.
Yep.
You'll get that.
So just make sure you don't get discouraged.
Okay. And that's
Good
all
job.
MCT free. I haven't had MCT since we had that conversation that day.
Good.
Sweet.
So,
Nice.
yeah.
How about BHB? Any BHB?
Nothing. None of it.
Nice.
It's pure just cream.
That's all you. That's a help.
Yeah.
That's a healthy liver. That's cleaning out the liver, dude. That's awesome.
Cool. All right.
Good job. Anybody else want to check in tonight that hasn't? I know we got a couple people.
Oh, and just to let Eric know too, get ready for your boost of energy. It's coming.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you're
Michelle,
rolling.
get your honey-do list made.
When you're rolling like that without any MCTs or anything like that, or BHBs, and your body's starting to do that, you are going to get a sudden rush of energy, and you're going to be like a fart in a frying pan.
We tear stuff
Yeah.
up when his ketones start. We have everything in our house remodeled. Anything we want done happens when his ketones are crazy. We get
I've got a backyard full of weeds that need to be dealt with.
There
so,
you go, man. It'll be like next.
You'll be ready. So, any other question? Anything over there?
Nope, we're good.
Okay.
We've gone a little bit long tonight, but
All right.
it was
This
interesting.
is good tonight, guys. I appreciate it. We love it. Get out, stay in the group. We will keep the check-in challenge up where everybody can check your numbers. And remember, start going back. We've been doing that for a couple months now. You can go back through and check your progress. See how far your numbers have changed in the last few months. Those of you that have been doing it for a while with us. I will be getting something up for the cream challenge. because we're going to figure out a way we're going to do this. We're going to get off this cream, get the cream out of us. We don't need it. None of us need it. So we'll get that out of us and get moving. Anything else anybody needs, you know how to reach out. I probably am going to be starting another group, another coaching group through. We're going to do beginners and advanced. We're just going to keep growing that little group over there on my app. Anybody that wants the group coaching or the small group, get in there, let us know. We're going to keep going in that and growing. And this is where we hope to just keep helping more people. So we love you guys. Reach out. Oh, go ahead, Helen. Got a question? Hang on, we got you muted. Got to unmute. Unmute. There you go.
Sorry. Will getting rid of the cream also apply to cream cheese?
If that's still fitting in your macros and you're still doing okay in the beginning, cream cheese, no harm, no foul for right now. You know, you're still low enough on your macros. It's probably not that big of a deal. The heavy cream is a pure total. Yeah.
And it's a liquid.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I like way too much of it. So.
All right.
So that's one of the few things that she does in excess.
Yes. I can usually ration out anything else. Like I can take a bite of a piece of cake or a bite of anything and spit it out and be done. I'm good.
Not cream.
Cream is like my warm hug that I still need. So, okay. My brain still wants it and my body. So, we're good. All right, guys, everybody have a great week. Reach out if we can do anything. Let us know what you need.